special place that I like to go. With nobody's home to increase my understanding. My daily bread, that amazing. I'm talking about precepts. Precept on precept, line upon line, precept on precept, line upon line, babe. I can't keep explaining, can't study for you. I can't think of nothing, wasn't nothing gonna change.
We are not a hate group. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept, the late night show on Thursday. We are your host, Captain Shem.
Captain Matt. Officer Mikha'el.
Officer Micah.
Hey, all praise to the Most High like we do every show. First and foremost, please help us on our road to 30,000 subscribers. Also, subscribe to our YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, TikTok, and all the other social media platforms, and let us know what you think and share our videos. Like we always start, well, no, that's not yet. We'll go right to Officer Micah with the Watchman Report. Take it away.
Hey, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. There's a lot going on, so don't want to hold up the show. Tech team, let's go. Israelis ready to fight with their fingernails. Netanyahu says in veiled Biden rebuff. So he said, look, you ain't giving us no weapons. We're going to fight with our fingernails. But you know they got plenty of weapons anyway. Next article. A 19-year-old called 911 in a crisis and ended up dead. For advocates, it's a call for a better way of policing. I mean, just don't pull your weapon when you go police. All right, next article. World news and brief children in eastern DR Congo. Iran death sentence. Support for Haiti. Hey, things in the Congo are getting crazy over there. People are starving. Violence, this uproar. The UN's causing all kinds of chaos over there. Next article. Look at this. Scroll up. Democratic Republic of Congo. Look at this. They are living in fear over there, like bombings, genocide. It's all kinds of stuff going wrong over there in the DR. And that's our people. You may not think that's our people. That's our people. They're scattered abroad. James 1:1 said that we were going to be scattered. So we got people scattered over there. Next article. Army eliminates online training requirements for non-commissioned officers, says it's too burdensome. So I guess they aren't going to be smart anymore. They're just going to start just popping people. So this concludes the Washington Report.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept Late Night Show. We start the show after the Watchman Report. Go straight over to the thumbnail. Throw it up on the screen there. On our thumbnail, Officer Mikha'el and his AI has created this.
So, as y'all see, the title is Babylon's Balloon About to Bust. So, in the thumbnail, we have Sleepy Joe, Jim Crow Joe, holding a balloon that looks like the American flag. In the background, you see an ICBM missile. That missile is indicating impending doom or destruction to Babylon. In the midst of that, you see dollars falling. You see a stock market crashing. There's all kind of chaos going on in the background because that is what's going on in Babylon. But if you're here in Babylon's bubble, you actually don't realize that's going on. But you're about to real soon when that balloon busts.
All praise. Hey, last week, I want you to do me a favor. I want us to review the Federal Reserve. pull up the Federal Reserve. And last week we posted something that just came to me. Can you pull up the Federal Reserve in 1971 with regards to the Richard Nixon? Hey, let me see if I can find it for you. It's right from last week. I got to review this. I didn't have it tonight. So basically, the Federal Reserve, brothers and sisters, is moved off about 53, 54 years ago off of gold as their standard. So now they can print money to no end, and then what they do is they can actually borrow on that money with there's no asset to secure it. That's the Federal Reserve, and that's what we're going to get into tonight. Pull up the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve. It should be a quick definition because I want to review this quick definition. And I'm going to send you from last week the Petro to make it very easy for y'all. And then we'll jump into it. I have to do it. I should have given it to you. All right, so tonight's report content, there we go. Federal Reserve, here we go. We got it up on the screen there. So we're going to just review it, then we're going to look at the Petro TikTok video, then we're going to get into the show. All right? A little dry, but we got to go there.
The Federal Reserve, or the FED, or the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. It was established in 1913 to provide the country with a more stable, flexible, and safe monetary and financial system.
That was right before World War I started. Okay, the Federal Reserve started in 1913. And back then, they had a standard that they had the dollar was attached to or backed up by. Read on.
The Fed has 5 main functions that promote the stability of the U.S. financial system and the health of the U.S. economy. Monetary policy. The Fed system's monetary policy to promote stable prices and maximum employment.
So that's number one. Read on.
Banks of supervisions. The Fed regulates and supervises financial institutions and banks to ensure the safety of the country's financial system.
When you go into your bank and you open, a lot of us will probably never have that much money in our account, but the FDIC will insure your account. It's either up to $250,000 or $100,000. I can't remember which one it is. You can pull it up. It'll tell you right on your banking sheet. That's what, to protect your money. Okay, go back to number 3.
Interest rate setting. The Fed sets interest rates.
So currently, the interest rates, and I'm gonna do the mic right. Brothers be telling me I'm over here with this and that. The Federal Reserve sets the national interest rates. A lot of us in this room, I thank the Lord, we got interest rates in the mid-2s or lower to get our houses, which, by the way, you're never going to see that ever again in history. Now it's currently between 5.25 and 5.5, which is still historically very low. So they set the interest rates, and the interest rate is really not so much about cars, it's about the housing market, right? Now, that's all very important when it goes into banks and interest rates. Bullet point 4 and then 5.
Money supply management. The Fed manages the money supply.
So this is interesting because the federal government or the Federal Reserve manages our money. Interesting. Just remember these bullet points as we go on. Read on.
Financial market regulation. The Fed regulates financial markets.
And how does it do that? Well, nowadays it just prints money, not attached to anything. Then it goes and starts wars and steals people's countries' resources. So, and that's to put it quite plain. So, get me the TikTok video to review for the folks at home about the Petro. Okay, this is a great TikTok video. I just sent it. It's no editing or nothing like that. I did throw him a curveball, but it's not that far. Damn, no dead spit. Come on. All right, we're gonna move on. It's not that, it's just a TikTok video, bro. Okay.
You know August 1971, President Richard Nixon announced the Nixon Shock, a series of economic measures that included suspending the US dollar's convertibility into gold. This crucial decision ended the Bretton Woods system, an international monetary framework established in 1944, which pegged global
So this is
currencies
what I
to-
really wanted right here. Stop right here. So the Bretton Woods, and that was took place in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, actually aligned, leave it up there, the framework established in 44, which is, by the way, right before World War II ended, 1944, and it pegged the global currency to the US dollar and tied that to an actual precious metal, gold. That is when the US, after World War II, it just took off a whole nother global conquering mentality. So that being said, we got 5 bullet points for the Federal Reserve. We saw that it was tied in 44 to gold standard. Nixon in early 70s went away from that, and the Federal Reserve did not have assets attached to it. Now go to number 1, please. Number 1. All right, so this is the dollar's going down. Is it boring? Yes, but you got to know this stuff. It should be timestamped for you.
Hey, it's good for us to know it because a lot of people, all they talk about is money this and money that, and I got to get the most money, and I got to do this, I got to do that. But you fighting for a dying commodity.
Literally, the dollar is. You think about a hot air balloon. It gets bigger, get bigger, and all that energy it took to get that big, and all it takes is just one pressure point, and it just all goes away. And we're going to see in our lifetime a major recession or depression on the lines of what happened during the Great Depression. Tonight's show, we only got like 4. We're going to spend a little bit more time on each video. This guy, Morris Investment, I like this guy. The more I watch this guy, he says, look, you got to watch the money. That's how people in wars and people that are trying to destabilize, you have to watch the money. Okay, play.
Thank goodness. But let's get back to the big news here. In the next few months, everything changes for the US dollar. That's not me saying this. This is coming from every economist that I trust. And there's only a handful of them that I do. It's coming from the very same people that accurately predicted the tsunami that hit in 2008.
Pause real quick. All of us in this room were grown men when that happened. Yep. When I'm gonna just share with me, I'm past the shock of my life. I came into truth in 2007. The next year was the Mossad just destroyed me. Well, actually 8, and I came in at 8, but the end of mid-7 is when all started to happen. So I lost my house. I was one of more than 50% of people on my street. We all lost our houses. A lot of us lost jobs, houses. I had to choose between paying my light bill and getting food. So the lights went off. I had my lights off, and this is when I first came to truth. Mossad jacking me up. And I just remember it was hard. I remember getting gas and having to not knowing if I was going to get gas to get to work. And I was a teacher at that time. I was a school teacher. And I know I was going through it, and a lot of people around me were going through it. I don't know about you brothers, if you could speak on that, please.
I got out. I always said that I got out the military at the wrong time because I got out in 08. In September of 08. And I got out in a job market that they said I was overqualified for, but didn't have enough experience in. So every job that I tried to get, I was overqualified. Couldn't get no job. I could not get a job. When I tell you that was one of the lowest points in my life, man, 2008, 2009, that was some hard stuff right there.
Brothers?
2008, I had just decided to go back to school in 2008. And while I was in school, the school actually lost their accreditation and had to close down, so I had to find another school.
Damn.
Because of the recession.
I was in Afghanistan.
Right.
It was just.
You getting combat pay. You was all right.
I was in Afghanistan. Getting shot at, but I was in Afghanistan.
Hey, I'll tell you, that was serious. 2008, I know a lot of people that lost their houses. Foreclosure rates was ridiculous. So keep that in mind. Those of you that are watching the show, remember your life, your family's life, what you went through. They're predicting something significantly worse than that on the lines of the Great Depression, which was in the early 20s or so. It's coming, and you better be ready. Bishop Nathaniel, the bishops at IUIC, and the deacons have been talking about prepare for the famine. And the famine is not just with food. There's going to be a lack of resources. There's going to be a lack of employment. There's going to be a lack of many things. And the ultimately is going to lead to the lack of food. But all it's going to go in stages. And we're very, very close. So this should be, just pay attention to tonight's class. Play.
Congressman Ron Paul, who ran for president of the United States, no one would listen to him. Ron Paul warned us all that the 2008 collapse was coming. He warned us in 2003. They called him nuts. He was right, of course. But back in 2008, he also gave us another huge warning that no one paid attention to, and it's now coming true. This is Ron Paul in 2008. Watch.
And to me, so this guy Ron Paul, he was very famous during this time. I remember seeing him on TV all the time. In 2003, he predicted like the Morris Investment mentioned that, hey, there's going to be a major recession in 2008. And this is him, I believe they're saying, that later on, something's going to happen worse than 2008. This is him saying it. You can tell the quality of film is, 15, 16 years ago, and obviously you can just see it's dated, but play on.
Amazing thing right now is not only has the financial system collapsed, which is very, very bad and very dangerous, I believe that what we're moving toward now is the collapse of the dollar. And the collapse of a dollar, because it's the international reserve currency, I think is going to be much worse than what we have already witnessed.
Yeah, Ron Paul warning all of us that a U.S. dollar collapse is inevitable. And now we have breaking news that we just learned about this weekend from Russia and China. We now know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the BRICS nations are officially ending their ties to the United States dollar as a reserve currency. According to multiple sources close to the BRICS planners, it will officially happen in October.
So pause real quick. So some of you may have not watched and tracked what's going on. We have tracked the last 3 years here. BRICS nations consisted of, real quick, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They recently acquired the following: Ethiopia, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Argentina?
Yeah, Argentina.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and by the way, there are so many other nations right now that have applied, and good job, tech team, and that are in the process of getting accepted. And last week we showed you a map of how China, since the year 2000 to 2022, the whole map, China controls the majority of the world's trade with most countries. So BRICS is now going to officially move off of the U.S. dollar. This is huge. It's not being talked about in the regular white mainstream media, and it's happening this year in Russia. And these countries, by the way, when you look at the map, Russia is by far the largest country. It has the most nuclear weapons. It's beating the hell out of the Ukraine. It's threatening nuclear war, okay? China is the most powerful trading country in all of the world. India has the most people in the world, and they have a huge, by the way, right now, later on in the show, I'm just going to give you India right now. Europe is literally buying 40% of India's oil. Because what India is doing is buying from Russia, and then Europe is coming around and buying from India. And we're going to see that tonight. And then you got Iran and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the #1 producer of oil in the world. Go ahead, Officer Michael.
Yeah, I was just thinking the U.S. has military installations in China. They have something called a money exchange. Like you have to have certain type of currency. So how are they going to go? How's that going to work out for the guy who wants to go off base? You know, he get his little weekend pass. He going to go out there and try, hey man, here I got $20. Now we don't take that here. Yeah. That's going to be a shot because I don't think the guy at the lowest level they feeling it yet.
Right. What I want to know is how is China moving away from the U.S. dollar going to affect the fact that China has brought a lot of the U.S.'s debt? How is that going to affect things?
So I'm telling you, they've been in the last 4 years, China has been dumping U.S. debt. In Japan now, I don't know if we talked about last week, Japan, the yen is it the yen? Yeah, the yen is going down significantly. Go back to that map. That was good. So this is something that, again, so this is about a 38-year span. So from 80, the U.S. is in blue. We meaning the U.S., okay, ran basically the whole free world, right? It was about 13 years or 12 years after Vietnam. In 2018, and by the way, it's much more than that because right now in 2024, that's expanded even more. But you can see it's red, okay? And it's phenomenal what China is able to do.
So what happens when the biggest producer in the world doesn't trade in your currency?
It's going to be a problem.
How you gonna get supplies, electronics? How your company's gonna survive? Like, China is a big producer. Remember, they was going after Trump, and not that we are Trump supporters, we are not Trump supporters. We don't give a damn about politics. But Trump was like, I want to keep everything American made.
Yep.
We need to cut China out the deal. We need to do it here. We need to be the producers. They called this dude crazy.
Yep.
And now look where everything is going to. The biggest producer in the world no longer wants to deal in your currency.
This is wait till you see this guy, Clayton Morris, and he's about to drop some stuff. I think they're really limiting his YouTube views because he's dropping some knowledge here. Play on. We got about 4 minutes to 5 minutes.
Summit
to go.
meeting where they will make that declaration. Now, they could do a soft declaration ahead of time. We don't know. But according to sources close to BRICS, they will also announce their new currency at the time. Just let that sink in for a moment, guys.
Wait. Can you go back a little bit?
They missed it, Cap. They missed that.
I need you to go back just a little bit.
Reserve currency. According to multiple sources close to the BRICS planners, it will officially happen in October at their summit meeting, where they will make that declaration. Now, they could do a soft declaration ahead of time. We don't know. But according to sources close...
Stop. Ethiopia, Egypt, and lo and behold, Iran. If you could, please, can you just move the disclaimer real quick so that people can see? Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Iran formally joined BRICS. That means paperwork was signed. They are officially a part of BRICS. And didn't Iran back every militia that was going against Israel?
Facts.
Yep. And now those same people are joining up with Russia and China, who are in fact going against the United States. Boy, things is heating up.
Hey, and there are many other countries that are waiting to join that bandwagon, and they're getting on that wagon. They're going to roll over the U.S. dollars. So we, as Israelites, we have to watch and pray and understand that we're going to need each other in the last days. We're going to need each other. That's why, brothers, buying these brand new cars, buying these big houses that you don't need is stupid. Get a house that you can afford and get it paid off. Get cars that you can work on that hold their value. Okay, work with each other. Get land, grow your food, do the best shit. Now it's hard. We got crazy schedules, but there's going to come a time when the dollar gets weak, everything's going to become more expensive. In 2008, I remember it was like $5 a gallon. At that time, it was crazy. But it could get to the point, imagine tomorrow, which hypothetically it's not going to happen, but imagine a day when gas doubles and it's $8.50 a gallon. When that doubles will be about $6.50. Imagine a day when gas is doubled to $6.50, $7. If gas doubles, consequently, everything else, food, remember the trucks, the fuel goes up, so now it's more. And when the prices of gas goes up, food goes up, everything goes up, and then it just becomes hard to live a daily life. With us, Zephaniah 2 and 1, we're going to gather together, and we're going to be able to endure. And it's going to be, I'm telling you, we better start practicing what we'll be hearing our leadership talk about. All right? Play on.
They will also announce their new currency at the time. Just let that sink in for a moment, guys. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and dozens of other countries which are now joining BRICS will officially end settling transactions in U.S. dollars and instead use a new commodities-backed currency. And according to the news this weekend, BRICS will, quote, sway other countries to ditch the U.S. dollar by uplifting local currencies for trade, as well as developing a new currency system that would rival the U.S. dollar. Experts, of course, say that the U.S. dollar is less attractive now that the U.S. is facing rising inflation, has unrelenting debt on its hands. Russia says the U.S. is unloading its inflation on other countries, holding their dollars. Just look at Japan, which is collapsing.
Вот-вот обрушится доллар. Если доллар обрушится, что произойдет? У них же на бумажке вся экономика. Надо, напечатали доллары. Говорят, если много денег, инфляция. Плевать, инфляция на нас ложится. Сейчас ни доллары, ни евро никому не нужны. И это уже не только в Беларуси и России. Это во многих странах.
And then this weekend...
Go back to a little bit, because he was speaking, I believe, from Belarus, which Belarus is Eastern Europe. Pull up the map of Eastern Europe. I told you to get, please. Eastern Europe, because Belarus, he just pull up the map, and then we'll go back, and I want you to see, because we might have thought he was Russian. He was speaking from Belarus. Okay, so literally Belarus is right in Eastern Europe, north of Ukraine, directly on the border of Western Russia. So just so we can take a look at that map, let's go back to the video showing you that this is not just a Russian thing. The 10 horns are literally becoming unraveled, and we're going to show you even more of that tonight. Play.
Говорят, если много денег, инфляция. Плевать, инфляция на нас ложится.
Can you scroll back so I can read it?
Japan, which is collapsing.
Вот-вот
The dollar is about to collapse.
обрушится доллар. Если доллар
If the dollar crashes, what will happen?
обрушится, что произойдет? У них
They have the whole economy on a piece of paper.
Pause. So that's going back to the title of the show. Babylon's balloon is about to bust, because they have all of their economy on a piece of paper. And Nixon, the Nixon shock was he shocked the world. Well, not him, but he was the spearhead of that time by taking the dollar off of the gold that was established in 44, I believe it was. It makes no sense. And now this guy is a white man, not in Russia. He's like, this is ridiculous. And you can tell that there's an event going on. There's a lot of heads of state. There's different flags here. I believe there's different. It's probably some political gathering. He's got the news reporters here. Play on.
If they need, they print dollars. They say if there's a lot of money, then it's inflation. But they spit on it. The inflation falls on us. Now no one wants the dollar nor the euros.
And once the euros are assigned to that by other countries, that is when NATO is going to be destroyed. And that's when these countries are going to turn on Babylon. And it started right now, because this wasn't happening when the EU's first formed. They were all together, okay? And they bought more from the U.S. Now the division starts. Well, watch what he's about to say.
And this is not only in Belarus and Russia, it's in many countries.
So not only in Belarus and in Russia, it is in many countries. And when he says many countries, he's talking about white, first-rate European countries. And we did shows in 2021, 22, when right before the Ukraine war started, they were protesting in the streets of Europe before the farming strikes took place about NATO gotta go. In all these cities in Spain, hundreds of thousands of people, they did not agree with NATO's policies. And they're putting pressure on the politicians to what? To take them out of it. When the war started and the Russian commodities became inaccessible, what happened? After they blew the Nord Stream pipeline, price of food went through the roof. Now, this last year, farmers are literally striking with tractors. We did a whole 3-4 shows on that. This is where we're at right now, y'all. Right now. What's Micah?
Yes, sir. Hey, can y'all pull up the definition of ally? A-L-L-Y, and just write definition behind it real quick. Because what they doing and what a lot of people ain't paying attention to, they saying, hey, the dollar is going in the toilet. So what are they doing? You got an A-L-L-Y definition, ally. In the last one, because you got it? There we go. We'll be quick. I just want to go down.
I'll read it. I got it.
I'll read it. Ally, a group of nations taking military action together. In particular, the countries that fought with the U.S. in World War I and World War II. A personal organization that actively supports the rights or a minority or marginalized group with being a member of it. So what they doing is they coming together based upon like, hey, look, the dollar's going into the crap. So ally comes with, they going to have armies with them. They know that they can trade the commodities amongst each other. So what they doing is they forming allies. They're forming a team. They picking a team that they want right now. And they getting their money right.
And every team has to have a central focus. China is the economic, remember the bank for BRICS is going to be in China. We covered that. And who has the stronger military? Russia has a fierce military.
Cap,
we covered that last week.
This was the last part. It says, combine or unite a resource or commodity with another for mutual benefit. That's what I was looking for.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And these folks understand that. Here you have Belarus, which borders the Russian right on the border. And because the EU is being led, or NATO is being led by the United States, which is all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, dictating policy that Belarus can't trade with their neighbors. That's on the think about how arrogant, even for other white folks, they're like, this is ridiculous. And that's why the people of these countries, particularly Eastern Europe, to include Central Europe with Germany, and even all the way to Spain and Portugal, the people are feeling it. But the pressure is coming from the U.S. on the leaders of these European nations. And this is why Revelation 17, verse 16 and 17. Because this is what's going on. Where in order to hate someone, the dislike and the disdain for them has to build. And that's what's been happening for the last 3 to 4 years.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
Because the 10 horns, when he saw us upon the beast, why? They were attached. They were connected to the beast. How were they connected? By the policies of NATO and the EU. Why? They're white nations from the same Esau, the flock of Esau, okay, the nation of Esau, whatever you want to call them, Edomites, white folks, read on.
And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God had put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
That's the point. The Most High is doing all this. Just like in Romans, 9, when he said he hardened Pharaoh's heart. Get me Romans 9 and 7. The same way that he hardened Pharaoh's heart. Even when his advisors like, yo, listen, we should just let these Hebrews go. They kept pushing it. The Lord is getting behind the minds of all these leaders to do this. Why? Because he's going to cause a war. He's going to cause this. She's going to cause the European countries to hate the United States of America. And we're literally seeing it right now. This guy, this Edomite in Belarus, he's not Russian. He's like, nah, the U.S. dollar is hollow. It's empty. He said the whole economy is attached to a piece of paper. And then they pass the buck, or they pass the inflation on to us. That's the division. Read on.
Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh.
Thank you, 17.
Even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I may show my power in thee.
That's what God's going to do. God is going to harden the heart of Joe Biden, harden the heart of Donald Trump if he gets in office, harden the heart of Netanyahu and all of the Israeli ministers and cabinet members to do what? Keep creating issues with these Arab folks. Keep creating issues with the European Union, with NATO, and they are going to implode. They are going to rise up, and there's going to be a war, and the Most High is going to be behind every step of the way. That's why when you see these things, we're not worried. We're not afraid. What we are is we're conscious of what's going on. We're aware. We have to watch different news outlets. We cannot depend on our enemies to tell us the truth. Okay? Read on. Read on.
And that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Because that's what's going to happen. We're going to say hallelujah, hallelujah, when we see those missiles drop down. And we are protected like the three holy children on that fire. Go back to Morris. We're going to move on in a minute.
Не только в Беларуси и России.
And this is not only in Belarus and Russia, it's in many countries.
Это во многих странах.
And then this weekend, we have yet another country announcing it wants away from the U.S. dollar. The Maldives wants to settle transactions in BRICS currency. So just since 2007, federal debt held by the public has surged from $4.6 trillion to an astonishing $27 trillion. Overall government debt is now surpassed $34 trillion. Just look at this chart that Game of Trades put together to paint a picture. In over 200 years of history, we saw this and then boom. Guys, there are so many bad signs right now for Biden's sheep that I can't even fit them all into this video. But here are two more little data points for you. China and other BRICS nations saw this coming years ago, so they started dumping U.S. treasuries, unlike Japan. U.S. allies, though, like Japan, didn't do that. And now they're facing disaster because it's basically gotten too close to the U.S. dollar. It touched the sun and it got burned. Now Japan's economy is collapsing. They have no young people. No one is having babies in Japan. The same thing is happening in the United States thanks to Biden's inflation and money printing. America's fertility rate plummeted to its lowest level in a century just this past year. That means the government and the Fed have to keep printing money to counter that demographic cliff that's coming. It's about to get a whole lot worse. But back to Japan for a moment. Japan is the largest holder of U.S. debt. They were thinking of selling, but then the U.S. panicked, and Jerome Powell of the U.S. Fed held a secret meeting with Japan's
So this is Jerome Powell. You're going to see this guy all over the news in the next coming weeks and months to come. This guy basically bailed out the yen in Japan. But the next biggest debt holder is, I believe, is China. And China is dumping U.S. debt, getting rid of U.S. treasuries, and buying gold like you would not believe, along with Russia. Just like BRICS, all the BRICS nations are buying precious metals. Why? Because no one's talking about it. We just heard in October of 2024, they're having a summit where they're going to officially unroll a currency backed by precious metals through the BRICS nations, which Captain Matthew pointed out, it includes Iran. Iran, here's the thing, Iran literally has the Houthis, and they have unofficially backed other militias that are fighting against Israel. So now you're going to have them, they're actually involved and going to be attached with the currency in trade. All of these things are happening, and they're happening this year. And when it drops, when that doggone balloon pops, you are going to be affected at home. He is going to be affected here. How is it going to touch us? The price of gas is going to go through the roof. Now, medicine's going to go up. Food is going to go up. The cost of everything you need is going to go up. The HVAC business, all of the businesses, the mechanics, your fertilizers for crops, it's going to get to the point where hard decisions are going to be made, and they're going to be hard to make those difficult decisions. Give me 2nd Ezra, chapter 2nd Ezra. This is what's happening right now. Things are cheap still. Give me 16, verse 21.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth.
Right, because now everything is cheap. Gas was, sometimes it's in the upper twos where we live at, and things are cheap. But all of that is about to come to an end. And when we saw a little taste of that in 2008, and they're predicting, these economic experts, that the global de-dollarization and the U.S. losing the status as the international reserve currency, that was predicted. If that goes away, we are in for some serious problems. And this is not being talked about at all. It's literally not being talked about. Read on.
That they shall think themselves to be in good case.
Everything's I read, we good. We ain't got no problems. I go to Walmart, I get groceries, I'm good. I got food stamps, I'm good. I got this, I'm good. Gas is $2.99. Read on.
And even then shall evils grow upon earth.
How are evils growing on the earth? Well, you've got a genocidal, psycho government that believes that they went and stole the land of Palestine, which was full of Arabs, which is originally our land, the 12 tribes of Israel. They're ethnically cleansing. Openly, they've killed 33,000 Arabs. We'll call them Palestinians. And they're going to kill even more. And they have an international court that's trying to, they can't do nothing. That's evil. There's no justice. Do you look what's going on in the Ukraine? Okay, they're fighting a war. The U.S. is leading that war under the NATO's disguise. 600 some odd thousand Ukrainian troops have died, right? Some of them could be our people over there. We don't know. All that's happening in the name of what? In the name of war, in the name of power. Evil is going on in the earth, and we're seeing it right now. But this is when we think everything's all right. It's not. Read on.
Sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them.
Sword, famine, and great confusion. You got places right now in Uganda where the U.S. government is trying to infiltrate to push the LGBTQ agenda in an African country when all of the leaders are like, we don't want that there. They made laws. This is our country. If you want to do it over there, that's evil. Evil. That's confusion. These things are happening where your child can literally, once they reach a certain age, can decide they're a certain gender. And if you as a parent try to fight that, there are laws that protect them over you and your child. These are the days we're living in right now. This is confusion. Where a drag queen can read a story about other drag queens in a classroom at elementary school, but a father can't go in and request that you do not read the book Jimmy Got Two Dads. Don't read that to my son. Matter of fact, when you read that, take my son out. He can't even speak on that. And us as the Israelites, we can't go in and teach the Bible. This is the land of confusion, the time of great evil and great confusion. All that's going to change. Read on.
For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine.
That's what's going to happen. A lot of us are going to die. And hopefully not, well, a lot of our people that in other countries that live a much rougher life, a lot of our people are going to die. They're going to die of famine. Read on.
And the other, that escape the hunger, shall the sword destroy.
Right, and there's going to be more and more wars, more destruction, and this is going to happen, and we're going to see it in our lifetime. So don't, just get your minds ready, because we're showing you these things that investors are saying, this is going to happen. The writing's on the wall, okay? Writing's on the wall. We got to see shout out to Captain Mattathias. The writing is on the wall. We got to see these things. I'll go back. We're almost done.
To make a secret deal. We'll prop up your yen if you don't sell off our dollar. Now that plan has collapsed.
We've seen a reversal as the yen has began to collapse again to almost 156 yen per dollar. This spells disaster for Japan and the U.S. potentially, as Japan is the largest holder of U.S. treasuries.
Guys, the U.S. dollar is a Ponzi scheme because they just keep printing more money, just like Bernie Madoff. A Ponzi scheme only works until people want their money back or they want out of the deal.
So watch this. This is heavy. So this is a white guy about to go in the bank, and he's being told something. So y'all put it to the test. Those of you who you had some money, maybe you got some thousands of dollars in the bank, but go to the bank and just try to withdraw $4,000 or $5,000. You could take it out and just put it right back in the next day. Watch how some banks are making you do extra paperwork or saying you cannot take that much out in a day. It's your money. Watch, this is a real video of what he's about to show that's happening. If it's happening to one person in one state, It's happening all over the country. And a lot of you don't realize it because you don't go to take a lot of your money out. You leave it in there, you take a little bit out, you use your debit card, and it's a digital transaction at Walmart, at Rouse's, at car mechanic place, whatever, at the Home Depot, whatever. Play.
It all comes crashing down. Former Fed Chief Alan Greenspan explains how this scheme worked.
Are U.S. Treasury bonds still safe to invest in?
Very much so. I think this is not an issue of credit rating. The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that.
Again, it works until the music stops playing, until inflation hits, until BRICS nations ditch your Ponzi scheme and build a new currency on gold and oil. That's what just happened. The other big part of this is the collapse of Western banks. One bank per month is now collapsing. Go right now and try to get some money out of your local bank to make a purchase. Like you want to buy a used car, you need a few $1,000s out of your account. Chances are you'll be told that the money isn't there, or you cannot withdraw your money at this time, come back in 8 days. Why? Because they don't have it. Like this guy who started filming on his iPhone when he went into his local branch. He needed cash out of his account to buy a used car. He needed a few $1,000s to make the purchase. He was told no.
What is this? It's my money. I'm allowed to withdraw from my own bank account.
Yeah, so
You said what's the maximum limit you can give a withdrawal to a customer? It's $3,000 on the date. You've already mentioned that multiple times.
Yeah, not today.
Why not today?
Today I would need the extra or would get it invoice.
But why you need proof of what it is? Why is that? And why is that?
It's his money. They don't have it. Godfrey Bloom, author and fund manager, says go out right now, get your money out of these banks. These banks are insolvent, and we are facing.
Quick. Now, disclaimer: we're not IUIC because we're on the IUIC platform. We're not trying to tell you to run out and doggone get your money. It's okay. It's fine. Get your money out of the bank. That's your decision. You deal with your financial advisor and your tax. That's up to you. But we're just bringing you the news that this is really happening. And most of us, we poor folks, we live within a month out of our money. So you're not going to take out, and even if you do get a loan, you're not actually getting the cash from the bank. Go ahead, test it. Go try. Take some money out. Try to take the maximum daily out. Just go ahead, take it out, and put it back later on that afternoon. See if you get something. These things that happen behind the scenes, and a lot of our people are completely asleep. Play on.
Dark age in the West. Guys, I've been warning you about this for 2 years on our show. Ron Paul's been warning us since 2008. So there's no excuse not to be ready for this. The Biden sheep are in trouble. So that's the news update part of the video. Now pay attention because I'm going to show you something that you probably...
So that's pretty much it on with Morris Investment. And yes, you must say, well, that guy's, he's a right-wing conservative. Well, I don't really care. He's bringing facts. He's pulling out graphs and data, and he's showing us examples of what's going to happen. So look, with that, brothers and sisters, stay with us. We're going to get ready to transition to the midsection where we have Officer Mikha'el, the Bible verses, the break, and then Captain Matthew with the kingdom music. So stick around, y'all. Shalom.
Yeah, that purple be a problem, they don't like that. We don't turn the other cheek, yeah, we fight back. We keep the law, we teach the law, they don't like that. We waking up the 12 tribes, they don't like that. Yeah, that purple be a problem, they don't like that. We don't turn the other cheek, yeah, we fight back. We keep the law, we teach the law.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. It's your brother, Officer Mikha'el, and this is the Bible verses. Did God call the black man to go to Japan to impregnate the Japanese woman? Play the video, because this is actually right on point. Play the video.
Man, a nigga's prayers have been answered. It's like the Most High is calling upon us and giving us this holy mission that we need to fulfill. Japan, the land of the rising sun, needs black men. They need black men to plant our seeds, to spread their garden, because they have no plants out there to photosynthesize in the land of the rising sun. Damn. Well, it looks like I gotta go to Japan and save a country. Goddamn.
So Did the Most High God call the black man to go to the land of the rising sun to impregnate these Japanese women? Because y'all just saw it just came up on the show that they're not having kids in Japan. So did God call the black man? Let's see. Give me Tobit chapter 4 and verse 12. Let's see. Let's see if God called the black man. Bring it out.
Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is
what?
And take not a strange woman to wife.
Take not a strange woman to wife. Ammon is a strange seed. Ammon is some incest babies, if y'all don't know. That's a strange seed. Read.
Which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even they that all married wives of their own kindred.
They did what?
Married wives of their own kindred.
So, maybe you're thinking that's just one scripture in the Bible. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, and let's see if it says it somewhere else. Because, apparently, according to this Negro, the Most High is calling black men to go to Japan. Let's see what the Bible says.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with him. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his sons, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you. And
so the Most High God is telling us not to have interracial marriage. The Israelites are a set-apart nation. Yes, he's saying not to deal with these people because they are idol worshipers. They have idol gods and don't follow their customs. Yes, it's saying that. But it's saying not to marry a nation outside of the nation of Israel because they are idolaters and they have idol gods, and they'll turn you away from following the Most High God. And look, this has been the Bible verses. Did God call the black man to Japan? Y'all stay tuned.
Yeah, that purple be a problem, they don't like that. We don't turn the other cheek, yeah, we fight back. We keep the law, we teach the law, they don't like that. We waking up the 12 tribes, they don't like that. Yeah, that purple be a problem, they don't like that. We don't turn the other cheek, yeah, we fight.
Hey, Israel, go ahead, take your phones out, scan the QR code, answer the 5 brief questions. Let us know how we doing. Let us know how the broadcasting technology team is doing. Take the time, scan it right now. This is how you get your voice heard. This is how you make the show better. Scan the QR code. Let's get it done.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. My name is Captain Shem, IUIC New Orleans. Help us to grow. YouTube page, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell notification. And now it's even easier, y'all.
Hey, and also part of New Orleans Camp, we got the community cleanups. Cleaning up our neighborhood one at a time.
What y'all waiting for? Subscribe.
What are you waiting for? Subscribe! Have a good vibe. There's so much wrong going on in the world, but somehow we keep it all smile.
Subscribe and follow us on all social media accounts. We got TikTok, we got Twitter, we got Rumble, and YouTube. Make sure y'all follow IUIC New Orleans. Shalom.
Hey, also, we got flyer missions every day and also camp videos. Check us out, IUIC New Orleans.
So remember, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, like, share, and don't forget the QR code. When the QR code comes out, don't forget to take your phone out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why isn't it done? Shalom, Israel.
Just to have a good time. That's what we say. All praises to the Most High.
Okay, well, enseñar como sabemos. The Bible talk about being saved.
This only happened to who? To the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and the Native American Indian. That's history.
Who is he the God of? Who is he the God of? God is the God of the Israelites.
Entrar. Y fuérzalos a entrar, ¿ok? Fuérzalos con la palabra de Dios, con el entendimiento que nosotros somos un pueblo perdido, ¿ok? Llamándonos colombianos o puertorriqueños o cualquier.
The Hebrews Journal presents Well Traveled, the London edition, as the prophets travel the earth to spread the truth and awaken the nation. Join us here in London as we enjoy a conversation with the captain, discover the Windrush generation, fresh new recipes and food vibes. Like comics, Great Kingdom Comics awaits you. Come, join us in the exclusive edition of the Hebrews Journal. Reach out to your camp leader and see how you can get yourself a copy today. Shalom.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Going in, going all in. Going all in. I'm going in, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Ladies and gentlemen, there's the Green King. Let's go. 12 up. Sit down.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High Christ, blessed Captain Matt here with another edition of Kingdom Music. All right, so we got a good one. It's a little controversial because the subject matter is a little direct. All right, it's coming from Zamar, and let's just see. Play it.
You are now flying.
You're being extra, extra. Front page, big font, big face, no case, fake news, fake shows. Yeah, you hold no truth. And quit making videos in 4K. I watch every word I say, but you ain't me. The most I carry judgments for your wordplay on you. I keep my fucking mouth closed. If I were you, don't open doors you can't close. I tell the truth. I'd shut my mouth if I were you, were you, were you, were you. And maybe I wouldn't lie to you, to you. I keep my fucking mouth closed if I were you.
Shut your mouth, shut your mouth, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, shut your mouth. Proverbs 30:32. Out here looking like a fool, empty trying to get full instead of eating that spirit food. Cover your mouth. If you can't calm it down, there's strength in silence, yeah. So keep it quiet, yeah. If there's nothing nice, then we might stay divided, yeah. There's strength in silence, yeah. So keep it quiet, yeah. If there's nothing nice, make it right for the highest, yeah. Sit down, shut up, listen up. Don't need to get the last word. Hush up and be raised from little women. Teach me to be independent. It ain't needed to do. Don't be talking about your sister, talking about your brother, talking about your kids, talking about your father, talking about your mother. Supposed to be forgetting about the past, getting yourself right. That's a start. Listen to the whole sentence before you try to finish mine. Listen to the whole sentence before you try to finish mine. You gotta earn my attention. Put your feelings aside. Put your feelings aside. Put your feelings aside. I'm talking to the women, always thinking you're right. Put your hands over your mouth. Put your mind over your heart. Silence till you act violence. You know what you're doing from the start. And I understand it's a work in progress. TV, fake reality, kind of sneaking. There's a reason to be gossiping about your neighbor. Ooh, then again, you can do favor. Ooh, love again. I keep my fucking mouth closed. If I were you, don't open doors you can't close. Until the truth, I'd shut my mouth if I were you, were you, were you, were you. And maybe I wouldn't lie to you. I keep my fucking mouth closed. If I were you.
So, the soundtrack to the Curse of Miriam has a bit of a message in it. Shut your mouth. Hey, all praise to the Most High, man. We got a soundtrack to a movie. We got a movie. We got two movies. Joseph's Dreams. Now we got Curse of Miriam. So, all praise to the Most High. Good music coming out of original royalty. Stay tuned because we're coming with a lot more. Now let's get back to the show. Shalom.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's the King. Let's go. Hey, 12. Hey.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Welcome back to Precept Upon Precept, your Thursday late show. Put the the thumbnail back up real quick. Tonight's show is Babylon's balloon is about to bust. You see Smoking Joe. You see the big giant American flag balloon. It looks like a fiery missile or like a big pin with fire is about to pop the balloon. So a lot is going on in that picture. And we're living these times right here. So pull up video number 2. This is Lena Petrova. She's a Eastern European economist, CPA, and she is got some good information for us tonight. Time start at 1:28, please.
Even mentions the U.S.-Russia uranium deal that you likely didn't even know about. Last year, for example, while pushing all sorts of sanctions, in fact over 16,000 sanctions in total, as I mentioned previously, the United States paid $1 billion to import uranium from Russia.
So real quick, so what she and I didn't want to watch the whole video. What she's saying is, and we covered it 2 weeks ago, the U.S. has put over 16,000 sanctions on Russia. the hypocrisy she's about to point out is that although they sanctioned Russia 16,000 times, the U.S. still buys uranium in $1 billion they're buying from Russia. So you got to see that it's all hypocrisy. And what's going to happen is a guy from, I think, Poland's going to come on and point the hypocrisy out. So she starts first with pointing out the sanctions and about how Russia is still able to sell uranium to the U.S. Play on.
And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with continuing to do business, we should continue to do business with other countries and support free market. In fact, allowing trade ties to disintegrate completely would be an extremely high cost to pay and would be disastrous to all those countries that do not produce vital resources for their own consumption. For example, many European countries, but the general rhetoric is very, very deceiving. And the public doesn't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Sciarto pointed out that Western countries are effectively circumventing economic sanctions that they themselves put in place. The foreign minister also mentioned that before the war, the share of Russian oil in India was below 1%, so it was practically non-existent.
So she's very monotone. She keeps talking on and on, but she's basically saying that before the war with Ukraine, Europe bought less than 1% of all their oil from India. Something happens, and now there's another white man that's going to come on later on who is a leader of either Hungary or Poland. I think it's Hungary, and he's going to call out the other European and U.S. hypocrisy. And this is a part of the Ten Horns hating them because there's already dissension amongst these European countries. So watch this. Play on.
It is very close to 40%. You likely don't care how much oil India imports, but here's the catch. Here's why you should care. Before the war, Europe did not buy Indian oil. Right now, Europe is the #1 buyer of Indian oil. Why? Well, because India is reselling the oil that it buys from Russia. And since Sciarto says Hungary is not one of those European countries.
So pause. So I think he's the foreign relations minister from Hungary. Now, Hungary, pull up the map of Eastern Europe. Why is it important? Hungary is part of the EU, but it is I believe we're going to pull a map. It's in close proximity to Russia. I could be mistaken. I believe it is. Can we pull up? Let the people at home see that. So if you look at Poland, right below Slovakia is Hungary, which is right next. It actually borders the western border of Ukraine. So Hungary is more, it is Eastern Europe. You've got Croatia, you've got Austria. Okay, that's where Schwarzenegger's from. Slovakia, Poland's above there. That's Eastern Europe. So that's part of the EU. Well, this guy, what he's about to say is to drop a bomb on his white compatriots. And if he's saying that out loud, what do you think some of these other leaders are thinking? Remember, when you circle France real quick, I understand. If you haven't been watching this show, a lot of stuff I'm saying is going to go over your head. The president of France was denied entry into BRICS. He was shut down by by the EU and NATO. Also, France did a deal with China in the yen is Japan, whatever the Chinese currency is, the yuan. A lot of these countries are doing things that show us that the division is already started. So let's let this guy from Hungary speak on the hypocrisy of the U.S. and their allies, the NATO and EU.
Buy oil from India, others in Europe are buying it. And the ones buying oil from India are the same exact countries that refuse to buy oil directly from Russia. So how does that make sense? Do you see how it works now, the level of hypocrisy? It goes without saying that Siarto is absolutely correct, and this is the pinnacle of hypocrisy, as cooperation with Russia is frowned upon for some countries, such as Hungary, for example, but those who have the ultimate power are willing and able to do what others are not allowed to do. Here's the video. It is only a couple of minutes long. Watch and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about the foreign minister's statement. Take a look.
In areas which are not being banned by sanctions, we do cooperate. And based on our national interest, we would like to improve the cooperation. Let me give you 3 examples why I say that the whole European Union and the whole North Atlantic community is super hypocritical on that. There's a huge hypocrisy in this regard.
Specifically on the sanctions?
Yeah, and on this whole relationship with Russia. In 2014, we signed a contract with Rosatom, which is the Russian nuclear energy company, to build a nuclear power plant for us, okay?
I got to break this down. So he's talking fast. He says in 2014, they're working with Russia to build a nuclear power plant in Hungary, right? We saw it on the map. Watch what he's about to say about if you were to come here today to Hungary, what you would see. Listen to what he's saying.
Preparation, everything is going on. Russians, okay? If I take you to the site tomorrow, you will see huge works going on. But you will see American, German, and French subcontractors working on the site, paid by the Russians to work there. Second point of mine. We have been...
So you heard what he just said. He's like, Russians are paying American contractors to work on a nuclear facility in Hungary. So it's okay that the Russian, so that means that the U.S. is supporting Russia's by giving them economic resources so they can fight and kill Ukrainian soldiers. But so that they sanction everybody, but then they can do that. That's one example. This is a good, clean, white Hungarian that is speaking about the hypocrisy of the union that he's a part of. So again, this is where the division starts. The house of Esau is divided. Remember that. The house divided cannot stand. That's why later on McGregor is going to break it down. Play on.
Constant pressure not to work together with the Russians on nuclear energy, not to buy nuclear fuel from the Russians. Who was the #1 supplier of uranium of the United States last year? Russia.
Stop. So this is this week. When he said this year, he's talking about 2024. So the U.S. is buying $1 billion worth of uranium from Russia, but they put 16,000 sanctions on Russia. The U.S. does whatever they want. They're not held accountable. There is 100% hypocrisy. Go ahead, Cap.
So they're going to buy weapons of war from their enemies that they want to go to war with.
It's the land of confusion. It's confusion. You got to see, and this is why I spend a lot of my week looking for sources, and I listen to these 3-4 times, and it's a lot. It's dry. It's mundane. But it's amazing that the things that are very important for the world, they're not showing you not even a tenth of what you should be seeing. The European economy is collapsing. There is division, and it's all biblical. This is why y'all got to watch, research for yourselves, like Al Jazeera English, Routers. This lady, and she's a white woman, but she's an Eastern European white woman. The guy, Clayton Morris. You got to listen to people that are going to give you different perspectives. Bishop Nathaniel has always told us that. Look at different sources. Look at Russian news. Look at East Indian news. Don't just rely on this country's news. Don't do that. Officer Mike.
Yeah, Cap, to your point, what our people fail to realize is they always say, I'm getting the bag, I'm trying to secure the bag. But why are you not listening to the people who telling you what's going on with your so-called bag? They know what's going on with the bag. They always say, like, a good indicator of where your money is going. Look at what Esau's doing with theirs. A lot of times our people, they don't do that. They don't do it.
Hell of a point. And this is why when that bubble bust and 2008 happens ×2, people are going to have a real run for. There was people in 2008. I remember people they were having to choose to buy food versus medicine. And it was tough. It was a tough year, tough years rather. Play on.
United States spent more than $1 billion on Russian uranium last year. Third
Now
point.
pause. Why would the U.S. need uranium? Why can't they get it here in the U.S.? Because 100% of the uranium that they get, or the bulk of they get 100% outside the United States. The bulk of that is from Russia. Why? Because uranium is used to make what? Weapons of war. It's absolutely amazing. White man is a hypocrite. Even the Russians. Russia, why would you sell the U.S. uranium, which helps you to enrich nuclear weapons, if they're your enemy? It's the Most High doing all this. He's creating all this, letting them do all this foolishness, creating the hypocrisy, creating the hardness of their hearts. Play on. We got to play on. I'm sorry.
Third point I want to make. Oil. The Western Europeans are so proud of themselves. We got rid of Russian oil. Share of Russian oil to India was below 1% before the war. Now it's very close to 40%. Before the war, Europe was not buying Indian oil. Now Europe is the #1 customer of Indian oil. Indian oil, okay? So, and since we are not buying it, I guess there are others in Europe who are buying it, and those must be those who say that they are not buying oil from Russia. So when it comes to cooperation with Russia, I understand it's very easy to say that, Szijjártó is friend of Lavrov, Orban is meeting with Putin, you Hungarians, you are, traitors, you are the propagandists of Kremlin. Very easy to say. But when you look behind the scenes, you see that those who are accusing us, they are making much bigger business and much bigger deals with the Russians than we do.
So that's crazy because they blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. They say we're not going to buy Russian oil. Russia, in turn, sells the oil to India. India, obviously, is going to sell it at an upcharge to the same people that they're not going to buy straight from Russia. So now Russia's still getting paid off of you buying Russian oil. You're just buying it from somebody different.
And to your point, guess what? India is the I in BRICS. And then when their currency goes in October, which we just was listening to in the first video, now they're going to have a currency that's off of the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. And now you have India, which is one of the 5 largest economies on the earth, largest population, and they're aligned directly with Russia. Now, guess what they can do? They can force Europe to buy in BRICS currency or to buy in Indian currency if you're going to do business with them. And this is why that balloon about to burst. The U.S. dollar is losing its power.
October is going to be a tell-all when that BRICS currency comes out, because the petrol, we talked about that petrodollar.
Yep.
If they force them to have to buy in that BRICS currency, that petrodollar is going to cause the collapse of the rest of the United States dollar. And right now, the United States is #1 in GDP, $28 billion, but they're already $34 trillion in debt. So they're already in the red, which means it's only going to get worse.
Did you see how smooth Russia did that? They was like, look, okay, you don't want to buy my oil. Hey, I'm going to give it to my partner over here. He'll slap a high-top stick on it and sell it. They allies. So he going to bring back, like, hey, man, look, they didn't want to buy it from me.
Right.
They going to buy it from you.
Hey, pull up a world map. And I'm glad you said allies. They're also close allies in proximity of their geography. Because Europe, can we pull it up? So, yeah, so China and India share a substantial border. And you just got to go up through China, and you can get directly, if you go the little slot, you can go into India through China right to Russia. And so when you really think about what's going on, they have been planning this for years. Okay, they've been planning this for years. So and by the way, also, Saudi Arabia is the #1 producing oil nation, and they are now in BRICS. So if the petrodollar was in U.S. dollars in 1972, Saudi Arabia just this last year joined BRICS. BRICS is about to get a new currency in Russia. They're all going to meet in Russia. So we wonder why, Israel's able to do all this stuff and kill all these Arabs. But guess what? Behind the scenes, they planning something big. Because I was wondering, why did all these Arab guys don't get together right now. The Lord is holding them back, and he's setting the stage for everything that we see in 2nd Esdras. They're going to remember the nature. All these things are going to come to pass. The 10 horns are going to hate the whore. All of this is, we're seeing it step by step. That division that the Hungarian prime minister talked about, he said, this is a hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. If he sees that, these other leaders see that. And if they see that, guess what? The people see the hypocrisy. That's why one of the biggest revolutions on the planet was the French Revolution. They stormed the Bastille and overthrew the French government. That's what they were doing 3 years ago before the Ukrainian war. They were on the verge of uprising against these governments in Europe. That's what the farmers were doing. They were in Madrid. They were in Ireland with hundreds and hundreds. We did many shows on it. Tractors driving to the capital, dumping hose full of feces, dropping truckloads of cargo, crops on the street, burning tires all throughout Europe, and nobody was reporting it over here. It got 10 seconds of coverage. This was happening for weeks and weeks and weeks. Why? Because of all of the regulations that the U.S. is leading is putting on the European countries. So be very mindful. Let's move on to the next video. We're almost done. Number 3. So the next video is this Morris investment again? I wanted to, it's like 3.5, 4 minutes. This is important. He talks about three points. One is small businesses can't borrow, consumer bank accounts, and uranium. It comes up again.
Business credit. Take a look at this chart, guys, this new chart. This is an SOS situation here. Small businesses can't borrow to improve their companies right now. These small banks are going under. A number of small banks are collapsing and being gobbled up by the bigger guys. We now know that one large bank per month is collapsing in the United States. So these small local banks that lend out money, they are now insolvent. They've lent out money on these commercial real estate loans, and those things are going belly up. So they can't lend money out to small businesses right now. So what does that mean? Well, get ready for a lot of small businesses to lay off employees, unfortunately. This will be devastating to local communities. So keep an eye on that like local pizza shop that you love going to and watch as it starts to close down. The next big data point that I want to show you this morning is what American savings accounts look like. This is second only to the Great Depression.
So let's look at this graph. And this is where, when you look at data, numbers don't lie, right? Follow the money. So right here, can we get rid of the disclaimer? If we can try to take up the screen. Y'all look at this graph, right? So when you look at from 1929 to 2019, where is it? It shows you the dip. Look at the dip over to the left of the screen, right? That was horrible. That, I believe it was the Great Depression, right? And then you see March 2024. Look how low it actually went. I think that drop was, well, there's another drop right, but that circle right there, this is one of the lowest times in history. So when you track this, when you look at all of the way that BRICS is going to a different currency, all these key identifying markers financially are showing that they can predict the drop. That guy, I forget his name, but he predicted 2008 recession in 2003. He's predicting, Ron Paul, he's predicting that the U.S. will lose global reserve currency and the dollar will fail. We are coming up on that right now. So just be very mindful. Play on.
This data is stunning. This is a tragedy. People are done. Bidenomics is devastating American savings accounts. Just look at this. The savings rates under Biden compared to Trump. These are astonishing numbers, guys. Americans are just scraping by, selling off what they own and moving in with other people who've also tapped out of their savings.
No savings, no 401k, not even enough to cover an emergency. She sold her home and with 2 other women bought a smaller one, living together to save money.
Thank you very much. How has that been?
Well, it's been a matter of life and death.
Yeah, they've completely tapped out their savings.
So now white folks are going to know what it feels like to be black. They're going to learn how to struggle. they're going to learn and they're not going to be comfortable. And what's going to happen is, and when this happens in Europe, they're going to say, hold up, all this policy you're dictating from way across the ocean, and you are not being affected, but there's going to come a time where that this is going to happen in this country. And we've been dealing with it for hundreds of years, but if it's going to get hard for white folks, it's going to get even harder for us. This is why we have to come together. You brothers and sisters out there, you need to become as debt-free as you can. You need to have things, get land if you can. Be wise about it. Okay, don't have mortgages on your properties if you can. Get cars that you can fix, that you can actually have reliability. Grow your own food. Do things that when tough times come, you can. We have our very own Officer Micah has started to incubate quail and chickens. That's a huge thing that's going on. He's able to reproduce life. All praise the Lord. And that's stuff we can eat. We started here, all right? Thank the Lord for the spirit of certain brothers on us to help, because there's going to come a time where we can depend on that to eat. Why? Because we're able to control that cycle. The Lord gave us the ability to do that. So, y'all brothers, get ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Is that it on that? I think that's it. Okay. Play on. It should be like 1 more minute.
Pay medical bills, keep a roof over their head, pay for the same types of food items that they were able to pay for 4 years ago, and the prices are now doubled. This is the poor. This is the middle class in the United States. They have nothing left, no savings. Another big data point that we just got this week is the white-collar jobs data. Those that fuel the middle class are plummeting, a very reliable sign of a major slowdown. So this economy is in a free fall, despite what Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House press briefing room is telling us. And the Fed will need to cut interest rates soon to help stop the collapse and help the American.
Yes. To the point of that video, anytime you start to see stuff like that happens, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's a war coming. That's what stimulates the economy. When stuff starts to go down, war brings money. Mm-hmm. A war is going to pop off, and it's going to be something huge.
And we better be ready, because right now the U.S. has got a lot of enemies. They have Ukraine. They have all the Arab nations that are coming against Israel. They sent billions and billions and billions of dollars to support Israel in their destruction and slaughter of a race of people. Let's call it what it. The Arabs are a race. They're genocidal. They are strategically, genocidally, if that's a word, eradicating a race of people. They happen to be Palestinian, but they're Arabs. They're a nation of people who are Ishmaelites, and they're destroying them, and they're doing it openly, and they're not getting held accountable in the court of world law. Why? Because the white man runs this earth. Job 9:24. All right, last but not least, before we go to Lord back attack, go to former Colonel Douglas McGregor. I have 2 timestamps. He's going to tell us, actually, in the interest of time, do this. Forget about the first timestamp. Go to the second one. I'm not going to have time. The second one is better. It's like 30-something. Douglas McGregor, by the way, should be, and same with Scott Ritter, these guys who were lifelong military officers who fought in wars, who went to these colleges and war colleges and actually understand the politics and the geography and the people's culture. These people in Washington, they don't understand what the hell they're talking about. And this guy, like I said, he's going to tell us what, and this is a judge, by the way. This judge here is actually brings a lot of very strategical military thinkers on his show. And that's why I like this show. Go ahead and play.
You and I have a close mutual friend in the House of Representatives who has received money from AIPAC, but since he voted against the Congress-defining anti-Semitism and voted against the additional aid to Israel and Ukraine, he's been stripped from that, along with about 15 or 20 other Republicans. Mostly
translation: white people who were voting for Israel for everything said enough's enough. They did not vote on the anti-Semitic literature definition, and they did not vote to give more aid to Israel. Now they did not. Now they were AIPAC was funding them. Now they lost funding and they got put on a. And these are conservative white Republicans. This is to show you that Israel, they control the U.S. government. I'm telling you, they have influence and their hands run deep into the White House policies. They are dictators of the policy. Okay, Biden is not in control as much as he may want to try to think he's in control. Well, we know God's in control of everything. Play on.
Arian, he's been stripped from that website.
No, you know, Judge, there is one other aspect to this thing that has to be mentioned. There are many people in Washington that regard Israel as an extension of our global military hegemony. Now, I regard that as utterly delusional. I'm talking about global military hegemony. Anybody who thinks they can dominate the world in military power or economic power or anything else is delusional.
Pause. And this is the point, is that's what the U.S. has done, not only with their military, what we saw in Patient Saints, we've covered here many times. The U.S. has over 845 military bases and throughout almost every part of the planet Earth, which is more than all the countries of the world combined, okay? But he said something heavy. He said we try to control countries with our economy, with our economics. That's why earlier there was a guy, a white man, a good, proper white man from Belarus that says that their money is attached to a piece of paper. And he was from Belarus. He says there's many countries realizing this, and we do not want to do business. Even this is why when you read Isaiah, it says, is this the man that did weaken the nations? All of these things are happening. Why? Because the white man oppresses his own people. He oppresses his own people. And here's one of his own top guys. He's a full bird colonel, not a lieutenant, full bird colonel of the U.S. Army. He had a career. This is not a slouch. And if you listen to this guy, he's saying that it is ridiculous. He fought for this country. He believed in the values of this country. He said this country is completely 100% out of order. He's telling his own country. Play on.
A lot of them inside the Beltway that very much feel that way. You know, historically, and I think this is something that Professor Mearsheimer has pointed out, we have almost from our inception as a country been the dominant power in our own hemisphere. And that was enough. But since the Second World War, we have been striving for this position of global hegemony. And a lot of people think that Israel is at least partially our instrument. I do not, nor do I think anybody beyond the borders of the United States is necessarily our instrument. But that's a popular view.
And unfortunately, many of the people that think that way have the power to take money out of our pockets, called taxes, or borrow money in our name, called inflation, and send it over there.
Now, remember, they're borrowing money. Rewind that part again. This is heavy because remember, the Federal Reserve said earlier, we read the 5 bullet points. It is to protect the U.S. government and to protect interest rates and set interest rates and all these things. But play it again.
Have the power to take money out of our pockets, called taxes, or borrow money in our name.
Pause. They're going to borrow money in the name for America with nothing to back it up. You have a currency that you print money, which is not backed by precious metals or oil or any commodity, and then you're going to borrow on that. And this is why it is a big balloon full of hot, empty air that is going to bust soon. Y'all better get ready. And you should be worried about this is what you should be worried about. Making the right decisions with the little money you do have. This is why I think, like in New Orleans, we have brothers together. We have a mechanics chat where we help each other with cars and not to get taxed with these big mechanic bills. We advise brothers, hey, buy a car that's historically reliable. Why? Because we can't afford these things. We have to use group economics to our favor. And these things that are coming, you have to make smart decisions. We're going to need brothers who have the money to get land, buy land, raise a bunch of goats, cows, chickens, quails, all of that. One day, and I hope it's not soon, but one day we may only have that. We need to learn that. Gabe knows what I'm talking about. Gabe's doing, we got a community garden where Gabe understands that we're going to have to make some decisions. Because not everybody's going to be able to do the work. But there's going to come a time when we're going to need each other. Right now it's cool because I went to Walmart today and bought a blueberry goat cheese and a little chicken roll for like $3, $4, and I was good. What happens when that's 3 times the price? It's coming. This dollar about the bus, y'all. Play on.
Inflation and send it over there.
Absolutely.
Exactly what we have witnessed. Colonel, thank you for your extraordinary analysis of all this. You analyze so clearly.
So
both issues.
that was it on that. I just wanted to share with you what McGregor said. He says that since World War II, the U.S. has taken a global position of dominance. They've done it through their military, which is so obvious, but a close second is they've done it through their economic policies, i.e. the petrodollar, i.e. the U.S. dollar being the world's global reserve currency. That's being challenged this year in October. BRICS is creating a commodity or precious metals-backed currency. This is the real deal. What is this right here? Okay, all praise the Lord. Look, stick around, Israel. I know these shows are a lot of stuff that you may not be interested in. We need to learn about things. Even the scriptures say, be not ignorant in any matter, small or great. So these things may not be that interesting, but these are great things that are happening in the earth, and you cannot be ignorant of it. So stick around, y'all. The Lard back attack is coming up. Shalom.
Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in.
Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Lard back attack. Welcome to another edition of Lard back attack. I'm Captain Shum. Shout out to my brother, Deacon Isaac. All praise the Lord. We have a national standard coming for weight and body fat percentage in around the time of men's conference. All of you fatback, lard ass, excuse making, weak, yellow make me sad, blubber gutted, balloon, fat, whale gutted lard asses, you're in for an accountability wake up call. And I'm going to literally get a cup of champagne and I'm going to drink a cup of champagne. I'm getting me a shirt that said fat people are horrible people. I'm getting something to wear. I'm wearing something. Gabe's wife's going to make it for me, which is kind of ironic because he's actually one of the guys that's going to be affected by the standard. So, and his wife going to be making me a t-shirt. All praise the Lord. You can't make this up. Give me Sirach 30, verse 25. I'm going to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Sirach 30, verse 25.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
So if I'm cheerful, meaning I'm happy, number one, I want to be the best me, right? Because who feels good at being 80, 100 pounds or you feel good? If you're 100 pounds of weight, you feel good about yourself? You ain't cheerful. It's a fake smile. Secondly, if you have a good heart, you realize what makes a man good is these scriptures, these commandments. There's so many different laws, precepts that connect us how to fix our health. And this is, I'm just going to keep beating you in the face with it, proverbially speaking. You have to have a care. You have to care about what you eat and the way your lifestyle, your meat and diet. And many of you brothers and you sisters, you don't care. So guess what? A policy, and guess what? If you want to remain a walrus-looking fatback largest, that's fine. You can do that. But there's standards put in place. If you're going to go to certain places, you're going to do certain things, you're going to have a respectable, reasonable standard. They got that in stupid Esau's military. They got it in all these different organizations, even Chinese car companies out there, group exercising. Okay? So we should be able to do that. The greatest people on earth, Deuteronomy 7:6 says we're above all people. So, well, unfortunately, we're actually above all people in the obesity statistics too. But so how can we be the greatest people on the planet Earth, but we're the worst in health? That doesn't, the math is not adding up. Proving that you lard asses, you are gluttonous. You're gluttonous. You're gluttonous. That's not a good work. So get me Sirach 31. A couple of scriptures. I got 2 videos, and we're going to be done. And you lard asses, I might one day be able to do away with a lard back attack. That's my goal. My goal would be is I can sign off on the lard back attack because almost all of our men are going to be below a body fat percentage, and we're not going to need this anymore. And then we're going to focus on the women because all we're going to do is just point and just start calling them out. You got to fix this. And when they run their mouth talking about, they're going to have nothing to say because the men fix it first. And the smart sisters out there, a couple of you send little emails and this and that. You said, I've already started. Great. You do your thing, sis. All right? Because the sisters got a long way to go. Read.
The book of Sirach, chapter 31, verse 16. Eat as it becometh a man. Those things which are set before thee.
I keep saying the same thing over and over again. There's basically 3 ways that things are set before you. 1, if you cook and prepare it yourself. 2, if you're married, the wife does it. Your wife, right? I shouldn't say the wife. Your wife. Your wife does it, right? Or number 3, you're going to an eatery where someone else is preparing your food. All 3 scenarios, you can control what goes in your mouth. The reason why you don't do it is because you don't care about yourself. Because you've been in truth for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, even 3 years, and you're the same way or more, you have not fully repented. You just don't get it. Because, yes, we put away pork. Yes, we don't go to the club. Yes, we don't get drunk. Yes, we don't beat our wives. Some things we did in the past. Yes, we do not celebrate Christmas, Halloween, Easter, all of that, Mother's Day. We've stopped that. But yet, you ignore all the other things that God gives you wisdom on. And shame on you. You should be embarrassed. And it's not my fault. It's your fault. And if you don't fix it, you're going to be held accountable. And that's when a lot of brothers, when you take something away from them that they cherish, that's the spark they need to fight to get it back. And if you don't fight to get it back, I don't want you next to me. I want you next to me. You can't even bring to a certain standard to help your brothers. You're a liability, and it's a problem. I know it sounds a little bit harsh. Read it again.
Eat as it becometh a man. Those things which are set before thee.
Come on.
And devour not.
So to devour means you are insatiable. You have gluttonous ways because you shouldn't eat your food all fast like a wolf or a lion. Read on.
Least thou be hated.
Right? And guess what? We're about to read, I got some fat videos. Okay? And there's nothing worse than a lard back. Why? Because they cost the British government billions of dollars. I'm going to prove that in a minute. Play on. Read on.
Leave off first for manners' sake.
So leaving off really is about being respectful and not being socially awkward and eating all the food. But also, leave off means you don't need to eat 3 times. You can eat 1 time a day. You can do it. I know a brother lost 120 pounds in 7 months eating 1 meal a day. And then other brothers doing water fasting in between. Why? Because they have a bunch of food on their fat, giant guts and midsections. It's called stored energy. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. You lard asses can eat once a week and be 100% fine. Just have to have water, electrolyte powder, some salt, you'll be fine. Okay, the grizzly bear principle, lard ass. Read on.
And be not unsatiable, lest thou offend.
That's gluttonous. And you offend me when you're 150 pounds. You're offensive to us people that are in shape. Okay? Now, got the formalities out of the way. Please play the British video.
Fat people are twice as likely to be off work sick. Obese staff are 2.5 times more likely to have taken at least a week off due to ill health over the past year compared to those who are not overweight. And this is revealed in a report by the European Congress on Obesity.
Pause. So I didn't say this. The European Congress on Obesity got together a bunch of smart white folks, and they had a meeting because fat people are destroying the economy. They're costing the workforce billions of dollars. Why? Because they are, I'm making a joke out of it, but they are literally sick. Their bodies are sick, and they're causing more call-outs, even in the blue and white collar. They've got staff, and then they've got workers. It's across the board, okay? And it's causing a problem. If it's causing a problem in Europe, guess what? It's damn sure causing a problem in the United States. We're almost done. Play on.
Congress is in Venice, and it's described the UK as among the worst offenders in this area. A record 2.8 million Brits are currently permanently signed off due to sickness, and this sick note culture is costing us a staggering 33, is estimated to cost us 33 billion quid a year. So
really, and by the way, all of these trends that you see taking place, they all are in the richest countries on the planet Earth, i.e. the UK, other parts of Europe, and the US. These are the fattest countries. And what it means is you Israelites, you black people, you're following your enemy. It says, never trust thy enemies and choose none of his ways. You've chosen to eat like your enemy. Our forefathers were never supposed to be like that. It talks about one fat Moabite in the scriptures. We don't read about fat Israelites, okay? And guess what? If there were fat Israelites, many times when you read about, you look at the tribe of Gad, sometimes when our people get hurt, later on they get older because they can't exercise anymore. Okay, you might have that later on. But our people were fit. Our people was in shape, okay? So we got to come back to that. And tough love is coming down the pipe for you men. So what's going to happen is the weak ones, they're going to eventually fade to black. They're going to be sitting. They're going to get fatter and fatter and fatter, and they're going to be held accountable, and they're just going to sit back, and they're going to fade all away because they're gluttonous and insatiable. I know it's very offensive, but somebody got to tell you. Play on for the Brit.
To make people live healthier lives, all of that stuff, sugar tax and so on and so forth. Let's talk to Tam Fry. He's the chair of the National Obesity Forum. Hi, Tam.
Hello.
Now, I think this is my position on this. Obesity's bad. It costs the economy.
Yeah. Is it 2 timestamps in that, right? So now, the same guy, which is not a lard ass, he may be a recovered lard ass, but this same guy now is going to say his position. Tam Fry, he's the chair, meaning that there's a whole board, a governing board that talk about fat people. The National Obesity Forum, which is in Europe, and it's getting to the point where the governments are realizing how fat lard asses are getting. And in Europe, I was just in Europe with Soraya. Captain Soraya, shout out to him. He is also overweight. Potbelly Soraya. Shout out to Captain. Love him to death, but he's getting fat again. So anyways, over there they got what's called a salt and a sugar tax. So if companies want to put a certain amount of sugar in their food, the company has to pay more taxes, which costs the consumer more money to buy sugary drinks. So they give you better options. And actually, I was over there and I had a ginger beer with like 4.4 grams of sugar, which comparatively speaking is like 38 to 40 grams over here, the same ginger beer. I couldn't taste the difference. It tasted absolutely delicious. And it was like a 1/7 of the sugar, an 1/8 of the sugar, if you do the math. So the British government is doing something. The UK is doing something about it. The US is doing nothing about it. That's why you see the US has the worst obesity rates, and it's reflected of black Americans, a.k.a. tribe of Judah. We are the worst of the worst in the whole earth. Okay, play.
Want to live an unhealthy lifestyle, surely we've got to let them without bringing in laws or diktats or social engineering methods of getting them to be better human beings. Is that what we want in a free country?
Okay, so you have a free country, and I totally understand your reasoning.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see people dragooned into doing this and that and the other thing. But what I do want to do is to get government to actually act, to provide better food, to get the food companies to take out all the fat, salt, and sugar, or the unnecessary fat, salt, and sugar out of their foodstuffs, so that whatever we buy off the supermarket shelves is as healthy as it can be. At the moment.
So they're making standards, and that's what we're doing in IUIC. Low will life last. A national standard is coming. You brothers, I'm warning you, make your choices now. Talk with your doctor and see if it's okay that your doctor allows you medically to eat one meal a day. You're going to eat, here's an example of a 1 meal a day healthy keto. I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. You may have a piece of salmon, wild-caught salmon, a whole bunch of Brussels sprouts, a lot of other vegetables on your plate. You can have some grass-fed butter, a little pink salt with it. And for dessert, you have a low-sugar berries. And that's your whole food for the entire day. Nutrition, checks off. Vitamins, minerals, checks off. Very little is sufficient for a man well-nurtured. If you do that and have nothing outside of your window, you are going to lose weight. Why? Because your body's getting healthy. I don't care how much you do that for an extended period, you're going to lose all the weight. Then when you lose all the weight, you can go back to a little bit more of a normal style of eating. It works. Dozens and dozens of brothers and I have done it. We're imploring you, brothers, to fix your health. Okay? So in the national, last one. I'm tired, y'all, but we hanging in there. Please, can I get a motivated reader? Because this is some great reading.
Why do fat people smell bad?
Nope. Do you think that's not us being mean? We're reading an article.
And what can be done? Sharing is caring. Obese.
See, we care about fat people and making them. I just found this online. I did a comprehensive search, and I am just pointing. By the way, skinny people obviously smell too. Okay, right. We get it. But there's something about a lard back that is a little different. Play on. Read on.
Obese people receive enough judgment regarding their activity levels, attractiveness, and even social traits.
It is an evil social trait. It's not a Freudian slip of some Mike. It is an evil thing for a lard back to get as fat as her is. It's obesity. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says gluttony equals obesity. Gluttony manifested equals obesity. I'm getting a damn t-shirt made by our fat counterpart, a.k.a. tech guru, Officer Gabe. Hey, Gabe, there's a picture of Gabe when he first came to Truth 11 years ago. He looks like the guy Jimmy from Good Times, skinny like that. Now he looks like Fat Albert's younger cousin. He's Gabe in the back. He's mad at me. Okay, read on.
While most are unfair, a few are grounded in reality.
Right.
Albeit exaggerated. One of these assumptions is that fat people smell bad.
Right, because here's the deal. Lard asses have to use more cologne. They have to use more deodorant. They have a lot more surface area. So it's more, listen, if you lose some weight, you're going to save money on deodorant, save money on lotion, save money on a lot of other healthcare items. Play on, read on.
The problem is, even as a fat guy, I agree that it's a problem. It's more difficult to keep clean and nice smelling.
Right, because you got more to wash. And you can get sweaty in the shower because you're burning so many calories. And then there was a lard back that actually created a system of wiping their rear end by using a spatula rigged because this lard ass couldn't reach around. So they created a contraption out of a local metal appliance, which they would attach toilet paper to and use. This very, very creative, by the way. Anyways, these are true things. Read on.
Believe me, I don't enjoy being a fat, smelly guy and don't enjoy it when people around me stink either.
Remember, there's a scripture that says, and I'm not making fun. The scripture says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Once, it's very sad. I will take that and apply the wisdom. Once you know that you're a lard ass and you can talk like this lard ass, it's the beginning to your road to recovery from Lardville. Read on.
So let's take a look at why fat people smell bad.
So this is not us not being mean. This is just some good old-fashioned American reading we're doing. Read on.
And what can be done about it? Fat people smell bad because they sweat more, and their size makes their armpits warm enough for the bacterial breakdown of sweat.
So this guy probably got this from some scientific journal. Why would he write that? Read on.
The bacterial activity produces the foul smell often associated with sweat and can be reduced by cleaning the moisture trapped in skin folds, armpits, and the groin area.
Now, normally I believe that most people have billions of bacteria. I believe lardbacks have trillions with a T. Read on.
In this article,
go to fact. Let's go to factors that lead to bad smell and how they affect obese people.
fat people aren't inherently worse smelling, but a few things remain unseen or unaddressed.
So it is a stereotype to say that they're inherently, because listen, I have smelled a couple fat people that smell wonderful, like roses. They just dumped half the bottle of rose cologne on them. Read on.
Which result in foul odor. Fortunately, that means plus-size individuals can take control of their hygiene and scent by paying attention to the factors that cause bad body odor.
They can invest in a swimming pool for their bathtub. Read on.
Sweating more. While sweating itself is odorless, it is broken down by bacteria and fungi. This activity produces a bad body odor. Pro tip.
So never say that we hate the lardback. We're giving pro tips to lardbacks to help them with hygiene. Now, my personal advice is you should lose all the blubber, fat, and lard so you don't have to be in this category. Read on.
You can pop your clothes in a Ziploc bag.
Now, they're going to need a Ziploc bag the size of a tarp because a regular Ziploc bag, for a guy like me who's ripped, and we can fit, Captain Matthew, me and Captain, we can fit our clothes in one of the big Ziploc bags. Lardbacks have to go to the special Ziploc store because they need a big, giant Ziploc bag, right? I didn't think they made them that big. Gabe, where you get your Ziploc bags at? Read on.
You can pop your clothes in a Ziploc bag and put them in a freezer.
Hey, if Gabe's wife watches this show, by the way, we love Gabe's a great brother. Gabe's wife is one of the nicest sisters, Sister Shemai. Sister, don't take it personal. I love your husband. I want him to lose the weight. Shout out to Gabe's family. Read on. You have to see me. Go ahead.
You can pop your clothes in a Ziploc bag.
Because that's not an attack on Gabe. I'm just pointing out the for example, I'm looking at the fireplace right now. I can see a TV. I'm looking at a camera in front of me. Gabe's fat lard ass. These are things I am flowing with truth. Read on. Most cell phones have a black screen when they're shut off. Read on.
You can pop your clothes in a Ziploc bag and put them in a freezer to get rid of the smell or sweat.
Again, you're going to need a commercial-sized freezer if a lardback wants to do that with his or her clothes. You're going to have to get an industrial-sized refrigerator, which, again, when you're not fat, you can get a normal-sized Ziploc bag, a normal-sized refrigerator, and you don't have to use as much shampoo and deodorant. I think lardbacks go for, believe 50% more deodorant on an annual basis. Why? Bigger surface area. Read on.
The low temperature kills the bacteria. The average plus-size individual has enough fat around their organs to cause higher internal temperature.
So the lardback's blubber is literally heating up their organs. These things ought not to be so. Go down to warmer temperature.
Warmer temperature.
I'm sorry. Let's just go. How fat people can smell, but we're giving 3 tips. So this is not a hate campaign against the lardback. This is we want the lardback to be able to manage until they can lose all of the weight. Here's some pro tips for lardbacks. Share these with your fat friends, would you?
How fat people can smell better. 3 tips. Use an antiperspirant.
As you can see, a portly gentleman there. Looks like he might have did 3 squats. Perhaps 5 to 6 side straddle hots, a.k.a. jumping jacks. Pretty much knocked him out. Read on.
An antiperspirant is something to be used as an occasional remedy. Antiperspiring produces like certain dry blocks, sweat glands for up to 24 hours.
So you lardbacks that use deodorants, you should perhaps switch to antiperspirant. And you're going to be rubbing it on it for a while because you got a lot more. Your armpits are much bigger than other people's. Read on.
Constant use can lead to toxic buildup inside the body. So this should be reserved for special occasions like first dates.
Or your trip to the fast food smorgasbord when you go hit I think it's fast food melee, y'all call it. When you hit up like 7 to 8 eateries in one night, you plan it on your calendars. Read on.
Use a cold spray. Finally, you can use low temperatures to kill the bacteria.
Also, Micah, you're depriving the lard back of number 2.
Number
Let's
2,
not
my
do
apologies.
that because they need every tip they can get. I think I see Gabe writing some mental notes over there.
Number 2, use citric acid, lemon juice. Citric acid kills bacteria, and lemon has plenty of it.
So if you see lardbacks going to get lemons, just give them the tip. Hey, listen, instead of eating that, making a lemon meringue pie lardback, take that 3-4 of them per pit. It's going to help you out. Read on.
You can squeeze fresh lemon juice and bottle it up in a tiny spray bottle.
That's not true. That's a lie. They would not bottle it up in a tiny spray bottle. They'd probably use a regular size spray bottle because they got a lot more area to spray. Look, these are all things that we're saying. We're trying. Yes, we're dogging the lard back out. I get it. But it's, number one, it's very fun because it makes me feel better about myself, to be perfectly honest. However, at the same time, it's to spark you all to change. Read on.
Whenever you become conscious of poor odor, you can spray it directly on the body from where the smell emerges to neutralize the odor and kill or slow down bacteria.
So if you see a lardback walk by you, smell like a lemon Jolly Rancher, chances are that they have bathed themselves in lemon juice on these areas. Read on.
Changing the pH. Use a cold spray.
We're going to end it out after this. Read on.
Finally, you can use low temperatures to kill the bacteria and cool off.
So if you see a lardback in the beer caves, I found it down here, they got things called beer caves. If you go into a gas station, up north they don't have these. You go into a gas station down here, and it's very big in the south. There's a thing called a beer cave, and you get to go inside the walk-in cooler, and it's nothing but a bunch of beer all over. It's amazing. If you see lardbacks in a beer cave and they're not buying nothing, chances are they're using that technique. So I'm Captain Shem. This is the lardback attack. You brothers and sisters, lose the weight, get healthy. A little bit of banter goes a long way. With that, we say shalom.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in.
Hey, Israel, take your time and go ahead and scan the QR code, take the survey, and let us know how we're doing.
To give at your local school, drop an envelope in the alms box to give online via PayPal at IUIC.NewOrleans@IsraelUnite.org. Hey, to give alms to the Booster Club via PayPal at IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org. So you can give alms to us to help IUIC New Orleans with a better show, Precept upon Precept. And remember, we got the Booster Club. And we on so many missions. I don't even know how many missions. It's probably in the hundreds. I don't know. We have so many missions. It's ridiculous. And we thank all of you at home, because if it's not for your donations, the profits could not be sent out throughout the four corners of the earth. Next. Hey, all praise to the Most High. We tracked time pretty good tonight. All praises. Please tell us, you haven't in the comments what you kind of want to see the show. I haven't heard any ideas. I read the comments. We're kind of just going what's going on in the news geopolitically and geoeconomically and geomilitarily, what's going on in the world. Because it's something that's going on every single week if you look in European and other world news. So that's where we're at, y'all. So if you got ideas, let us know. And we appreciate y'all at home. So with that, we're going to sign off. I'm Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Mikha'el.
Officer Micah.
And with that, brothers and sisters, we say shalom.
Shalom.
There's a special place that I like to go, but nobody's home. To increase my understanding, my daily bread that amazing. I'm talking about precepts, precept on precept, line upon line. Precept precept on precept, line